As Barb said, I've worked in the Canadian book industry for 14 years. I've been an independent bookseller, a book buyer for the chain, a publisher's rep, and now I'm an editor. I have never been, nor do I expect to be, a published writer. All of you are here today because you do aspire to be published writers, or you already are. And so I'm going to endeavor to explain how a writer secures a publishing contract these days and what that writer might reasonably expect from her publisher over the course of their business relationship. Now, I think we all have something in common beyond our love of books, and that is that we've all had at one time or another a romanticized idea of what it might be like to work in books or have a life in books. I had a very romanticized idea of who authors and agents and editors were and what publishing might be like, and it was largely plagiarized from the movies of Woody Allen. There's also a small footnote in there for Amy Irving in the movie Crossing Delancey, which is like the great book-selling movie of all time. I think a lot of aspiring writers have romantic notions about their chosen profession too. So I'll do my best to disabuse you of those notions today. And so that when it comes time to choose your path, whether it be through a traditional publisher or a more self-directed route, you'll have realistic expectations of at least one of those options. The days of writers toiling alone in garrets or basements, trusty, battered Underwood typewriter on their knees are long since past. In fact, the last typewriter manufacturer in the world, called Godrej and Boyce, just closed its plant last month in Mumbai, India, because annual production fell below 1,000 units. So it's officially the end of an era. And just like computers made the typewriter obsolete, online retailers are challenging the feasibility of bricks and mortar bookstores, and ebooks are challenging the dominance of print ones. And this is a big and, in order to reach readers, writers are now encouraged to blog and tweet to increase their visibility online, and to actively market, publicize, and promote their books. In effect, to hustle. And that's not what we like to think that writers have to do these days, but that's the new reality. The next question we have to ask ourselves is, given the rise of convenient and affordable self-publishing and the ease of producing ebooks, will the big multinational publishing houses become obsolete? The answer to that, I hope, is no. And that's not just blatant self-interest talking. It's just good business sense. If there's money to be made in self-publishing, I think it's reasonable to assume that online retailers, online booksellers, and publishing companies are going to want to get in on the game. Self-publishing, I think, Paul might correct me on this, developed out of a desire to circumnavigate the gatekeepers of traditional publishing. Sometimes people in publishing don't have the vision to see what the next big thing is going to be, and it takes an entrepreneurial self-publisher to show them the way. But now it's ironic that self-publishing has become a new revenue stream for places like Amazon and Borders and Barnes & Noble, Apple iBookstore, as well as traditional publishers like HarperCollins and Penguin. I've done a little bit of market research into this, so I'm going to list some of your options. On Amazon, self-publishers can access the Kindle digital text platform, which means they can upload and sell their Kindle ebooks to Kindle users in English, German, and French. It's interesting to note, though, that Amazon is still a gatekeeper of sorts. It has self-censored, self-published titles on its own website. Most famously, a few months ago, The Pedophile's Guide to Love and Pleasure. Do you all remember the big kerfluffle about that? The availability of this ebook elicited a number of outraged customer comments and forced the company to remove the title. Of course, now they're paying a lot closer attention to the self-published titles that are listed on their site. On Barnes & Noble, self-publishers can access software called Pubit. That software has attracted more than 11,000 independent authors and publishers and has published more than 65,000 books in the last 4 months. Barnes & Noble also launched the Pubit bestseller list, and this is interesting because traditional review outlets like the New York Times, they refuse to review self-published books, as you probably all know, and they refuse to include them on their bestseller lists. On Borders, self-publishers can access their new platform, Borders Get Published. 2 tiers of pricing, 2 different packages available. The basic package for $89.99 gives you an ISBN, you set your own price, and you get access to major ebook stores. Royalties are based on sales and vary with each retailer. Now, don't forget the traditional publishers, they want in on the game too. This past March, HarperCollins introduced a new digital imprint called Avon Impulse. When you go to their site, there's a trigger for a submission form for potential romance authors. Avon Impulse is offering authors 25% of profits on the first 10,000 copies of each self-published ebook sold, and 50% after that. And just this past Tuesday, Penguin US, my sister company, announced the launch of Book Country. So this is a free online writing community and publishing services venture. It offers writers a place to upload new works and receive feedback and criticism from a community of writers and readers. Essentially, it's a gigantic slush pile, but it's a place for agents and editors to look for new talent. Eventually, the venture will also offer a suite of self-publishing services for a fee, of course. These publishing services will not be outsourced. According to the press release, all the other print-on-demand sites have been developed by tech companies, and Book Country has been developed by a book publisher, and its processes are refined and streamlined accordingly. And again, like HarperCollins' initiative, this community is focused on supporting writers of genre fiction, from romance, fantasy, science fiction, and thrillers to hybrid genres like paranormal romance and steampunk, all in an effort to nurture writers of sometimes hard-to-categorize genre fiction. The site is the brainchild of an ex-genre fiction editor, Molly Barton, at Penguin. She often encountered writing that she liked, but she knew that she couldn't sell. So she says that Book Country will offer unpublished writers a chance to prove us wrong when they get rejected. They can show us there's an audience for their work. Now, the ebook craze has really blossomed in the last few months, and I wanted to put together a really accurate portrait of the rise of ebooks around the world. So the following statistics were reported by The Bookseller. That's an industry publication based in the UK, and they published this report on March 14th of this year. In Germany, the ebook market is currently below 1% of the total book market, but they estimate that ebooks will make up between 5 and 15% of the market in 2015. And it will be worth at least £375 million. That's just ebooks. In Japan, the ebook market is at 1.1% of the total market, and they estimate that by 2015, ebooks will make up 10% of the market, worth at least £900 million. Just ebooks, no print sales. In the US, the current ebook market is approximately 8% of the market and currently worth £270 million. So these new publisher-sponsored online communities, they might be the start of something big, and you might see more traditional publishers getting into the game. These online sites allow traditional publishers to participate and profit from the democratization of online ebook sales by offering writers struggling to find an agent or a publishing deal another avenue to securing the attention of those same editors and agents. Now, when I first read the press release about our sister company's initiative, I thought it all a tad disingenuous. Are we really helping these writers or just helping ourselves? Thought about it a lot, and then I realized that as an editor, when I walk into Pub Board, that's the weekly meeting where editors pitch their favorite manuscripts to the members of the executive team. When I walk into that Pub Board, if I am interested in a self-published manuscript, and that self-published manuscript has a really strong sales track, that's the most powerful tool that I have to convincing executives that this is a book worthy of acquisition. In addition to the sales track record, I have to talk about the quality of the writing, the market for the book, the competition already out there, and finally, the author's platform. It's the job of an enamored editor to pitch that book to the executives, and if you've already got a sales track, you're that much closer to getting the deal. So it might be useful to think about these online communities as a kind of dress rehearsal for the real thing. If you can show an editor strong sales through self-publishing, that you've connected with your target market through social media, then you're already that much closer to landing the deal. In this scenario, self-publishing is a step towards traditional publishing and not the alternative or binary opposite. But you might want to ask yourself, why jump through that extra hoop if you've already self-published? And why would an established best-selling author re-sign with a publishing house when they could self-publish, earn a much higher royalty rate, all without sacrificing sales or control? It's a great question. I want to introduce two very recent case studies at this point. They offer two answers to that question. So we'll take the case of Amanda Hocking first. Who knows who Amanda Hocking is? Okay, some hands out there. You guys are up on your self-publishing news. So for all of you who don't know who Amanda Hocking is, she is an extraordinarily successful young American self-published author. Since March 2010, she has published 8 paranormal romances and 1 novella. They're all sold on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Sony, Kobo, and Apple's iBookstore, and she sold over 1 million copies. She's earned somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million in that time. Her self-published print sales, though, are only at about 10,000 copies. Well, the big news in the last month is that she's just accepted a $2 million advance from St. Martin's Press to publish 4 new novels. She opted for the traditional route after successfully self-publishing because she decided that she wanted to focus on her writing and not the business, the full-time business of self-publishing. When she was on her own, she hired various freelance editors to copy edit her books, but she did all the cover designs herself, as well as her own marketing, publicity, and accounting. When asked what kind of control she retained in her deal with St. Martin's, whether she had final approval over titles, covers, pricing, and publication dates, she said she wasn't fighting for control of those things. She just wanted to ensure that her traditionally published ebooks would be priced similarly to those of her self-published ebooks. That's probably not going to happen. She doesn't want her traditionally published ebooks to be priced higher than her self-published ones because she doesn't want to alienate her core readership, which is a perfectly reasonable request. But note here that traditional publishers, at least for the moment, tend to price their ebooks at the same level as the least expensive print format. So if you've got a hardcover out there for $30, the publisher is going to say the ebook is worth $30. Amazon might discount that, and so you'll see a lower price, but that's what the publishers are hoping for. If that same book is released in mass market a year later for $8.99, then the ebook will be similarly repriced to reflect the lowest print cost. So it'll again move down to $8.99. Some of Amanda's self-published ebooks available on Kindle are available for as low as 99 cents. And that is definitely outside of the comfort zone of many, many publishers. They're very sensitive to the perceived value of books as a commodity, and they don't want print books devalued even more than they already have been by the deep discounters. So you're going to see agents and authors and publishers fighting over the pricing of ebooks for some time. So let's see what Amanda gets in her deal with St. Martin's. She gets a $2 million advance against her royalties up front that she never has to pay back even if the books tank, which they won't. And the hard copy sales that she hasn't been able to secure on her own will probably be buoyed up by her traditional publisher. By moving away from a solely an e-publishing and print-on-demand model, she'll now have distribution via physical retailers like Walmart, Costco, Indigo, independent booksellers, and airport bookstores. This means royalties on those hard copies, as well as the less tangible benefits of prestige associated with mainstream publishing. But what Amanda Hocking is really counting on is that the wider distribution of her hard copy books will fuel her ebook sales. And if her self-published ebook sales go through the roof, she's making more money off those than she would the traditional route. Now, I want to introduce a second case study at this point in time. Now, is anyone familiar with the name Barry Eisler? Yay! Okay, so Barry Eisler is a very successful New York Times best-selling author of thrillers. He's published 6 of them with Putnam, which is a tremendous imprint out of Penguin US, and the last 2 he published with Ballantine, which is a division of Random House. Now, he's not sure about the number of copies he's sold in all formats, including hardcover, paperback, and digital, but he's been translated into 20 different languages. He said publicly that his advances for those books have been 6 and 7 figures. His covers, the marketing and publicity campaigns for his books have been handled exclusively by his publishers, but he's gone on the record to say, though, that he's often been disappointed by his packages, meaning he doesn't like his covers. And he would oh, I have to wrap it up already. Okay, I'll go fast. So he's not been happy with his publicity and marketing campaigns. And he's calculated that he can make more money just on self-published ebooks than he can on a mix of paper and digital with a traditional publisher. He's already got the platform, he just wants to take full control of his publications. St. Martin's offered him $500,000 for 2 books, and he said, "No thanks, I'll do it on my own." So he's going out into the wild blue yonder. So what lesson can we learn from these 2 case studies? At first, when I looked at it, I thought, okay, well, this is just simply a case of the grass is always greener. That's not the case at all. Amanda and Barry agree on this. Having a presence in bookstores feeds your ebook sales, and having inexpensive ebooks feeds your print sales. You need traditional publishing to get into those traditional retail outlets, but self-publishing your ebooks allows you to set your own prices and retain most of the profit. These 2 writers have figured out for themselves how to get the best of both worlds, but they came at it from opposite directions. Anyway, I think I got to wrap it up now, so that's all. I've got tons more to say, though, so let's talk after. Thanks very much.